Sahara sat on the edge of the bed, staring blankly at the photograph in her hands. It was a picture of happier times. Pedro, with his infectious smile, had his arms around her and their two young children, Rudy and Amber. The vibrant colors and joyful expressions now seemed like ghosts of a life that had slipped away. At 22, Sahara's life had taken a turn she never anticipated. She had married Pedro, a handsome and ambitious young architect. 6 years ago, she had been just a high school graduate, while Pedro had been on the cusp of earning his degree from the University of Michigan. They met by chance at a mutual friend's wedding, and their connection had been instant and deep. Their early years were filled with love and dreams. Pedro worked tirelessly to establish himself in his career, while Sahara embraced her role as a devoted housewife and mother. Rudy and Amber brought immense joy to their lives, filling their home with laughter and wonder. But beneath the surface, the pressures of life and Pedro's growing ambitions began to create fissures in their relationship. The news of Pedro's affair came like a lightning bolt, shattering Sahara's world. He had fallen in love with another woman, someone he met through his architectural projects. The divorce was swift and painful. For Sahara, it felt like the ground had been pulled out from under her feet. She was not just losing her husband. She was losing her sense of stability and security. Sahara had always been an orphan, raised in an orphanage since birth. Her mother had died giving birth to her, and she had never known her father. The orphanage had been her only home, the staff and other children her only family. Marrying Pedro had given her a chance to build a family of her own. But now, that dream lay in ruins. With no formal education beyond high school and no work experience, Sahara felt overwhelmed by the prospect of raising Rudy and Amber on her own. The little savings they had were quickly depleting, and the fear of not being able to provide for her children gnawed at her constantly. One cold evening, as she tucked her children into bed, Sahara made a silent vow. She would not let despair consume her. She had faced adversity all her life and survived. She would find a way to build a new life for herself and her children. Sahara began by reaching out to local community centers and organizations that offered support to single mothers. She enrolled in a free online course to learn basic computer skills, hoping it would open up job opportunities. Days turned into weeks, and slowly Sahara started to see a glimmer of hope. She found a part-time job at a local bakery, working in the early mornings before Rudy and Amber woke up. The work was hard, and the hours were long, but it gave her a sense of purpose and a small income to keep them afloat. One day, while working at the bakery, Sahara struck up a conversation with a regular customer named Clara. Clara was a kind-hearted woman who owned a small flower shop nearby. Impressed by Sahara's determination and resilience, Clara offered her a job at the flower shop, with more flexible hours and better pay. As Sahara balanced her job at the flower shop and her responsibilities as a mother, she began to rediscover her strengths and passions. She had always loved flowers and found joy in arranging them. With Clara's encouragement, Sahara started taking evening classes in floral design. Years passed, and Sahara's life took on a new rhythm. She became a skilled florist, eventually opening her own small flower shop. Rudy and Amber thrived, growing into curious and kind-hearted children. They missed their father, but Sahara made sure they knew they were loved and cared for. Despite her newfound stability, Sahara's heart remained guarded. She had never dated any man since the divorce 3 years ago. The pain Pedro had caused left her uninterested in men and wary of trusting anyone. The idea of finding a new partner seemed distant and unlikely. Sahara believed that no man would want to get close to her, a single mother with 2 young children. Yet, deep down, Sahara craved companionship. She longed for the comfort and love of a relationship, but felt her confidence eroded by her past experiences. She was still young and beautiful, maintaining her slim and attractive figure by not overeating and eating only when hungry. But her beauty and youth seemed insignificant compared to the responsibilities and challenges she faced. One morning, Rudy woke up with a fever and couldn't go to school. After dropping Amber off, Sahara took Rudy to the local clinic. The doctor who attended to them was a young, kind-hearted black man named Dr. Samuel, 3 or 4 years older than Sahara. His warm demeanor and attentive care immediately put Sahara at ease. As Dr. Samuel examined Rudy, Sahara found herself opening up to him. She mentioned being a single mother and briefly shared her story. Dr. Samuel listened intently, his eyes reflecting genuine concern and interest. There was an instant connection, a spark that both felt but did not immediately acknowledge. Before they left, Dr. Samuel asked for Sahara's phone number, ostensibly to check up on Rudy's condition. Without hesitation, Sahara gave it to him. Later that evening, Dr. Samuel called, inquiring about Rudy and offering additional advice. Their conversations grew longer and more personal with each call, and a bond began to form. Days turned into weeks, and what started as concern for Rudy's health blossomed into something deeper. Dr. Samuel and Sahara found themselves drawn to each other, discovering shared values and dreams. Sahara's initial wariness began to fade, replaced by a tentative hope and excitement. One day, after many phone calls, Dr. Samuel invited Sahara and her children to dinner at a classy restaurant. The evening was magical. Dr. Samuel instantly liked their company, and Rudy and Amber were filled with curiosity, asking him countless questions. Dr. Samuel answered each one with patience, kindness, and a great sense of humor. By the end of the evening, Rudy and Amber adored Dr. Samuel, seeing him as a kind and father-like figure. As time went on, Dr. Samuel became a constant presence in their lives, and their bond deepened. One day, a special occasion arrived, Amber's 10th birthday. Sahara organized a grand birthday gathering at their home, inviting many of Amber and Rudy's school friends and neighbors. The house was filled with laughter and joy, and Dr. Samuel was among the guests, blending in effortlessly and endearing himself to everyone present. After the party, when all the guests had left, only Sahara, Rudy, Amber, and Dr. Samuel remained. The house was quiet, but the air was still filled with the warmth and happiness of the day's celebrations. Dr. Samuel took Sahara's hand, and with a mixture of nervousness and determination, he proposed to her. Sahara was overwhelmed with emotion, tears streaming down her face as she nodded in acceptance. Rudy and Amber were overjoyed, hugging Dr. Samuel and expressing their happiness. It was a perfect ending to a perfect day, a moment that promised a new beginning for Sahara and her family.